Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Today we're going to be diving into the realms of Cardano, and we're going to be discussing a protocol that is set to launch on top of Cardano this year that will change it forever for the better. And that protocol, of course, is Hydra, as I'm sure you guessed by the title. And of course the thumbnail, but Hydra is a big deal, and we're going to be explaining why that is in this video. It could essentially, providing that all the parameters are met, take Cardano to the fastest blockchain out there and see scalability reach 1 million plus transactions per second. There's almost unlimited scalability that can be unlocked with it, depending on how many heads are opened. You guys will know that we have really been trying to get the message out there within the Cardano community about how much of a big deal layer 2s on Cardano and sidechains are, because they are essentially Cardano's answer to scalability, interoperability, and everything in between. Essentially, if you have the layer 1, which is Cardano, that runs on the Ouroboros protocol, which is sound fundamentally and extremely, or one of the more secure protocols out there, you can essentially take that as a bedrock and build on top of it something that is case specific, like dealing with the scaling issue, which is essentially what Hydra do. And this is almost a similar, you guys will know I'm a massive fan of Polkadot. I don't make any beefs about it. I'm not any one blockchain maximalist. I'm a blockchain maximalist. But we're a massive fan of Polkadot and their relay chain. Well, essentially, Cardano with these layer 2s is almost going to act like that. It's going to be the anchor, the kind of securing network that will allow people to build on top of it in the form of side chains or layer 2s and do case specific things, but benefit the entire Cardano ecosystem. And Hydra essentially is looking to take TPS, transactions per second, to over 1 million. We're going to be discussing all that in this video. So we are in the Basho era, which is the era of scaling. Now, the last video that we made fundamentally for Cardano was looking at Mithril, which is a protocol I'm certainly very excited about. I'll leave a link to that video in the description. And another, different from Mithril, but layer 2 is Hydra. Now, we've spoken about this previously, and it really does tackle the issue of scaling, not just in terms of sending Cardano from one place to another, but also actually potentially smart contracts. And we saw this with SundaySwap looking to implement Hydra on SundaySwap. But we can talk about all this. So what I want to do, guys, is just focus on what Hydra is first. Hydra is actively being worked on. This is the top 10 weekly GitHub activities on Cardano. TeddySwap is first, Hydra is second. Then you got things like the Cardano node and Marlow, which is another protocol we need to cover, Mithril, and so on and so forth. And actually, if we go on this individual's channel, I've just found this guy today, by the way, guys, but well worth following. You can see he posts frequently or daily on who's sort of winning on the GitHub commits. And I clicked on the most recent one, which has Hydra on second. You can see here Hydra is third. Again, third. You can see it's third again. It's first here. It's consecutively in the top 3 spots. You can see it's first on multiple occasions. And that's because people are really working hard to get this software to market, or to get this protocol to market, because it is just such a big deal. And the fact that we're in the Basho era, Hydra, I think, is a big focus. So what is Hydra? I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my face for this part of the video. And we're going to start with IOHK or IOG's official kind of revealing of Hydra. So Hydra, Cardano's solution for ultimate layer 2 scalability. Scalability is baked into the Cardano development roadmap. Enter Hydra. The Alonso upgrade enables the creation of smart contracts, decentralized applications, dApps, and other applications on top of Cardano. Alonso marks a significant milestone in the Cardano journey, developing base-level script capabilities that will in turn enable further innovation and network development. It also starts the process of transforming a transaction and tokens-based blockchain into a dynamic confluence of creativity, financial inclusion, and decentralized development. Among the most exciting of the fresh developments enabled by Alonso is Hydra, a key layer 2 solution to further improve Cardano scalability, leveraging a new protocol on top of the existing layer 1 blockchain. So, and I'm going to draw a diagram on the Cardano chart, as I always like to do, explaining how the kind of Cardano blockchain works basically, a basic blockchain, and what Hydra kind of comes along and does. It runs a kind of parallel chain that batches multiple transactions together that are verified, in Hydra's case, by the same verifiers as the stake pools that operate and run Cardano, like the one that I have, which of course is the all-in stake pool. Anybody that wants to stake, feel free to check us out. We are going to look to actively start promoting it a lot more in the coming weeks and months, so do watch out for that. But I'll get into all that once we've kind of introduced it. But it's very, very interesting what Hydra's bringing to the table, and it's massive. And again, I believe layer 2s and sidechains are Cardano's way or path forward to victory. Certainly because the layer 1 that these layer 2s and sidechains will run on top of, but not affect necessarily, is just so powerful and beautifully put together. You know, that's one thing that Cardano really has going for it. So Hydra, Cardano's layer 2 solution. In a blockchain network, a consensus algorithm creates a secure and trustless environment by ensuring agreements on transaction history. Cardano uses Ouroboros, an efficient proof-of-stake algorithm for this very purpose. But Cardano also, just like any permissionless blockchain, faces challenges when trying to scale to achieve the throughput required to support applications in the real world. So let me just touch on this Hydra necessarily? Well, if Cardano is set to become what I think it has a very good chance of becoming, a operating system upon which real world applications are used and institutions potentially run off, you know, there's going to have to be a high throughput. So right now, no blockchain out there needs to scale to 1 million transactions per second. But as blockchain takes more and more of the world's share, it's going to need to be able to scale. And Cardano already has a pretty immutable solution for this that runs on a pretty damn immutable layer 1 and that is very secure and you know, could become a choice. Layer 1s and sidechains, guys, are absolutely Cardano's road to victory, in my opinion, because they will allow it to do so much, and actually Cardano itself will allow them to do so much, these layer 1s and 2s. So it goes on to say, including payments, identification. So if you need, you know, constantly need to update identification, stuff like that. Games, massive. You need a lot of scalability for that. Or mobile services. After all, the blockchain needs to reach global consensus on each and every transaction. Absolutely. Cardano's transactions incur fees. The people who run the network, in this case, or in the case of Cardano, the stake pool operator community, like myself, need to be rewarded appropriately for the part they play. So fees need to be set at a sustainable level. Users want to pay fees they deem accountable. In addition, the blockchain needs to be protected against denial of service attacks. For example, fees can therefore not be set so low as to open up undue risk. DOS events must be made prohibitively costly to a potential attacker. Storage is also a concern, as an ever-growing transaction history can lead to storage problems. So we looked at things like Mithril that essentially are looking to solve this and make a lot lighter blockchain. Effectively, the most successful blockchains risk becoming victims of their own success. Hydra is a layer 2 scalability solution that seeks to address all the concerns and aim to maximize throughput, minimize latency, incur low to no costs, and greatly reduce storage requirements. Scaling isomorphically. So how does it do this? By providing more efficient means of processing transactions off-chain, which we'll do a diagram of, for a set of users while using the main chain ledger as the secure settlement layer. Hydra keeps security guarantee while remaining loosely coupled to the main chain, not requiring global consensus. It can adapt to a broader range of applications. For example, Hydra allows TX fees and minimum UTXO value to be configured as low as 1 or 2 Lovelaces. Very interesting. Critical to microtransactions and use cases these unlock. Most importantly, though, Hydra introduces the concept of isomorphic state channels. We've looked at lots of state kind of protocols, like proof of state on Algorand, which I think is genius, kind of similar to Mithril. There's lots of... It really excites me what's being developed in the blockchain world, because it's all coming to a pretty interesting head. So where were we? That is to reuse the same ledger representation to yield uniform off-chain ledger siblings, which we call heads. Hence the Hydra name, which refers to the mythological multi-headed creature. Specifically for Cardano, this means that native asset, non-fungible tokens, and Pluto script are available inside each Hydra head. Isomorphism permits a natural extension on the system rather than a bolt-on one. So you're taking traffic, and this doesn't just apply to payments, but that's one use case for it. It also applies to, we saw today, our team is excited to demo something we've been hard at work for months. Sunday on Hydra. While a ways out, this is an important milestone in not just our scaling journey, but in Cardano's as well. We'll provide details later. So this is still to be implemented. I think this was on a testnet. But there's lots of hard work going into Hydra, and for a reason. You know, we've said essentially, look, you can do so many things. This is basically the Cardano blockchain, right? Very messy draw, forgive me, guys. And what you're essentially doing, so there's a certain limit to block production and what can be within those blocks to make sure the chain is secure. So you've got all these transactions and smart contracts and scripts in here, certain amount, depending on the blockchain usage, but there'll be a limit, right? So Cardano on a layer 1 is not scalable right now for millions of people. It's just simply not. And you'll say, okay, well, there are a million wallets here, but in terms of people using it consistently, you know, it can't really scale. And you're jeopardizing security if you try and get this to scale to, let's say, like 10,000, 100,000 transactions per second. So what they've done is they said, okay, well, here's Hydra that is secured, or we can open up a Hydra head that's basically secured by, it references at the same point the layer 1. So what it will do is it will take, if you know, you've got a queue of people here, it basically takes them onto the Hydra head, which is a blockchain essentially, and it batches them together with more transactions. So let's say you have 10 transaction limit on the blockchain, which it isn't. Well, Hydra could essentially put 1,000 transactions in here, but confirm it and basically tell the layer 1 what's moved where. So it takes the traffic off the layer 1 onto the layer 2 and then basically confirms it with the layer 1 once it's dealt with that traffic, if that makes sense. And this becomes infinite because you cannot just open one Hydra scale, you can open another one. Layer 2s do things in many different ways. Some of them have multiple blocks in between. I need to actually look at exactly how many blocks or how Hydra actually does its batching, if we can call it that. But you essentially have this taking place, right, where you just cross-reference and use the layer 1 for security. But then you can open another head, another Hydra chain that does the same thing. And ultimately, what you can do is you can take traffic from the layer 1, but maintain its security, put it onto the layer 2, and then basically confirm it back on the layer 1 in with using a lot less sort of transactions. It's super, super interesting. We've also explored things like, you know, how essentially you could build you can see this is the main Cardano blockchain and how you can scale literally vertically both ways with interoperable side chains, EVM side chains, you know, scaling side chains, adapt specific side chain. What's coming for Cardano in this year, guys, is nothing short of impressing, providing that it all rolls out. And I honestly believe that side chains are Cardano's road to victory, providing that it does it or executes it well. So that in a nutshell, I was going to say a literal nutshell, but it's not in a literal nutshell, is how Hydra works. You basically have the main chain, you take transactions off of that main chain, that traffic, put it onto the layer 2 Hydra or one of the heads, deal with it. So put all those transactions together, basically, and then you cross-reference it. So you're not taking up the space with this block. You're putting basically one transaction into this block, but you've processed hundreds of transactions, maybe thousands within it, if the demand is there. But you're utilizing the security and cross-referencing it with this. It's very, very interesting how this works. And of course, if there was an issue with Hydra, you know, essentially it wouldn't make a difference to the underlying chain. But this is the way we're moving towards. You've got Cardano here, and you're going to have so many things built on top of it in the form of layer 2s that are going to deal with things like scaling, you know, even smart contracts. It's a really very bright future I think Cardano has ahead of it. And I think this sort of layer 2 sidechain approach is huge. I think it solves interoperability, scalability, and a number of other things. That's all I've got for you in this video, guys. If you've enjoyed the content, like, always appreciate it. So as a comment, when is Hydra coming? Just to sort of love and leave you on that point. There was a bit of a roadmap on a recent post, and it said 2023, moving forward, we will continue to see new features, enhancements to the Hydra protocol, and their eager use in Hydra for payments. One early example will be a full Hydra for payments implementation that adds the ability to commit and decommit funds in existing open heads. This will allow payment channels to stay open while users can withdraw their assets. A future real-world reference implementation could see full integrations of Hydra for payments into an existing consumer-like wallet. It talks about a number of things, and as we continue to validate new features, finally for Toolkit, so on and so forth. So you're likely going to get Hydra this year in 2023, guys, on top of everything else. It's a big deal. Hopefully you've enjoyed the content. If you have, guys, a like is always massively appreciated. So is a comment, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching, ladies and gents.